if you've ever seen Disney's version of the Robin Hood, you've probably cheered for Robin a lot of times. I mean, he's really portrayed as a hero in the movie. However, it's really a lot more of a gray area what he's doing. I mean, he's stealing from somebody, even if they're a jerk or not. And is that okay, even if he's giving it away to the poor people in his village? Julie and I are going to be discussing this general idea today. Is it alright to do a bad thing for a good cause? Julia, your thoughts?
I think it's probably not a good idea to do a bad thing for a good cause. Because if your intent is to truly help somebody, but you are hurting somebody else along the way, I don't think you can actually have completely good motivations. So you're trying to help one person, but you're ending up hurting other people. I think it kind of cancels itself out in a way.
Yeah, I can understand that, because hurting people is bad and we don't want to hurt anyone while trying to help somebody. However, I feel like it's sometimes justifiable, and I'd like to explain how. So I feel like if what you're doing, well, actually I feel like it matters based on the standards of right and wrong that you're compared to. For example, if you're doing something bad politically, or like that the government would say is bad, but you're doing it for a Christian cause, for example, going to church even if the government says, no, that's illegal, I'd say that's definitely justifiable because God's word takes precedent over man's. However, if it's something like shooting up a church because your friend wants you to and he'll give you $5 for it, that's completely wrong.
Yeah, I definitely think there are very important parameters for like what is okay and what is not. Like for example, if someone's like in labor and they need to get to the hospital right away, like is it okay to speed while you're on the way? Because this could be putting other people in danger. But in a situation like that, you're not actually, like if you don't get in an accident, no one's life is harmed and you ended up helping the person who's in labor. So in a situation like that, like I get how that situation, it's maybe more justifiable to speed a little bit on the way to the hospital because you're helping out someone without actually hurting them, even though you did break a law.
Yeah, and let's turn to the Robin Hood example real quick because that's a really morally gray area. I mean, the benefit that the people received from the riches that Robin Hood stole is great, but he's also stealing from people. Now, when it's someone like the king who has a large treasury, I think it's more justifiable, if still murky, because the king has a ton of money and he should be using that for the betterment of his people. However, if he stole from someone middle class, I feel like that would be a much harder issue to settle because that person could be put in a worse situation than the people who were benefited were.
Yeah, and I think Robin Hood, like, he could have gone about helping the poor in better ways. Like, stealing money from people is not, like, stealing money does harm to one person, but is the benefit that it does to the other person worth the harm? I don't think so. So in a situation like that, I think I'd have to say that Robin Hood probably did not do the right thing.
I can understand that, and I definitely feel like the bad thing for a good cause should be a last resort. If you should go through all the good measurements of helping people first before you try something that would be considered unethical. However, I feel like in a lot of situations, people don't get that chance. Whether it's pressure from time, like you said, if someone's trying to rush their friend or spouse who's in labor to the hospital, they don't really have a lot of time to sit down and think about if it's okay to speed along the way. Or someone just might be incredibly poor. Like, I don't think Robin Hood was from the best family or had a lot of income and wasn't socially famous, so there wasn't a lot he could do to help aid the poor.
I think some people don't know how to go about doing good if all they've known is corruption. And so I think in a situation like Robin Hood, if he actually helped the poor know how to maybe negotiate better with people or if they taught them how to learn a more upright life instead of continuing doing bad, then all those people are going to know is how to do a criminal activity, which could end up putting them in a worse place than they were in the first place.
Right, because if they get caught stealing, that's just going to get them thrown in jail, like what happens in the movie. But I also feel like in an ideal situation, this debate should never come up, because let's say King John was a Christian, hopefully he'd know the Christian sense of giving and would help the poor.
Exactly.
Because he has so much. I mean, yes, he earned the money himself, but if he has a little extra, he can help out the poor people, just because that's what he should do, give to the needy. I also feel like if you're doing a bad thing for a good cause, you should definitely be careful to scale it. Like if you're forced to do it, like if you're going to speed on the road to help the person in labor, if you notice there's traffic, don't go like 30 miles faster than what the speed limit's supposed to, maybe only like 5 or 10. Like for example, the very real issue of World War I. One person was assassinated, and all of the countries of the world, or most of the big ones, got drug into a conflict that killed hundreds of thousands, if not millions of more people. That's definitely not a way to solve something.
Yeah, and I think it really just depends on that situation. Like, what's the situation you're dealing with, and how can you handle that situation in a way that can benefit the most people, not just the people on one side of the spectrum or the other.